Hello everyone, welcome back to Jikook Diaries Channel. Honestly, no one was prepared for this. Not ARMY, not Taekookers, not even most Jikookers expected that today all the pieces of the puzzle would finally come together. There were moments that were once considered mere fan service, mere coincidences between two close BTS members. But now, after everything that had happened, after all the footage, gestures, and interactions that slowly formed the outline of a story, it was undeniable. Jimin and Jungkook had proven something that many had tried to hide. Since their debut, the closeness between Jimin and Jungkook had drawn attention. They were two different things. Jimin gentle but sharp in his feelings, Jungkook quiet but protective and honest in his actions. But beneath it all, there was an unexplainable bond that felt deeper than mere friendship or stage chemistry. And though the world might want to ignore it, the camera never lies. For years, fans have noticed small details. How Jungkook always looks for Jimin in a crowd, how Jimin smiles whenever he hears Jungkook's voice, or how the two seem to speak in a language only they understand. But what's most surprising isn't the moments themselves, but the way they've begun to boldly show it, even when everyone is staring. In recent months, something has changed. As their solo promotions began, many fans suspected their relationship would drift apart. Jungkook was busy with his global activities overseas, while Jimin was busy promoting and performing solo events. But just as the two seemed to be going their separate ways, small signs began to emerge. Posts at nearly the same time, song lyrics that referenced each other, gestures that only those who have followed Jikook's journey from the beginning could understand. You know those moments when everything feels too coincidental to be true? This was it. During one of Jungkook's Weverse live broadcasts, he appeared oblivious to the camera as he softly hummed a song, and the line, surprisingly, was from a song Jimin had written himself. His face changed for a moment, then a small smile appeared. The ARMY watching knew immediately it wasn't just a random chant. It was a signal, a subtle but meaningful form of communication. On the other hand, Jimin, in his latest interview, mentioned someone who always knows when I'm not okay, even if I don't say anything. No names were mentioned. But when the host asked if it was Jungkook, Jimin simply chuckled and said, "You know the answer," and instantly the fandom world exploded. Of course, there are always those who try to deny it. Fans of other couples, especially Taekook supporters, are quick to say it's just a normal friendship. They try to reinterpret every moment in a safer way, as if to protect the narrative they believe in. But the more they deny it, the stronger the evidence becomes. There was one moment backstage at a concert, captured by a fan camera. Jungkook was seen bending down to carefully place the microphone on Jimin's back, and after he finished, he remained standing there, his eyes unable to take his eyes off Jimin's chuckling face. It wasn't the look of a normal friend. It was the look of someone who was truly, secretly, but completely in love. More evidence came from their interaction during the release of the latest Bangtan Bomb. While the other members joked and played, Jimin and Jungkook were in a corner of the room, sharing earphones and laughing quietly. There were no big cameras in front of them, no reason to pretend. They were just two people enjoying a small moment together. And for those who have followed this journey over the years, it was clear evidence that their closeness wasn't fake. The most touching moment came when Jungkook released one of his studio practice vlogs. In one part, he listened back to his recording, then looked into the camera and said quietly, "Sometimes I just want someone to hear this song and know it's for them." ARMY immediately flooded the comments. Is he talking about Jimin? The lyrics perfectly matched the theme Jimin wrote in like crazy. And the more people dug, the more they discovered the uncanny similarities between their song's themes. Silent love, deep longing, and the feeling of wanting to hide something from the world. Taekookers try to brush it all off. They say, Jungkook and Taeyong are close too. They laugh together a lot. True, but closeness doesn't always mean emotional intimacy. What Jungkook has been showing is much more personal. There's a depth behind their gaze, something that can't be faked for the camera. An old video from in 2018, another viral moment occurred. BTS were taking a break after practice, and Jungkook appeared to be asleep on the couch with Jimin's head on his shoulder. It seemed normal at first, until someone noticed Jimin gently stroked Jungkook's hair, then stared for a few seconds, as if the world around them had disappeared. It was a quiet moment, but it spoke volumes. Some things just can't be hidden. Even in a more recent broadcast of Run BTS, while they were playing games and joking around, the camera caught a small moment when Jimin subconsciously touched Jungkook's hand. The usually expressionless Jungkook suddenly went still, then smiled in a way that can only be described as genuine. It was the smile of someone comfortable, someone who knows they're with someone who makes them feel safe. What made it all the more clear was how they silently protected each other. As rumors of their relationship began to heat up, many noticed that Jungkook became more cautious. But being cautious didn't mean being distant. Instead, he showed affection in more discreet ways. Brief comments on social media, small emojis at the same time, or simply being present in the same moment without saying much. And Jimin? He remains as he always was, gentle, soulful, but stronger than anyone would think. In one of his interviews, when asked about the meaning of love, he replied, "Love is something that doesn't need to be explained to others. If you know, then you know." Those words were like a message to someone who was listening, someone who might be far away, but still understood without words. Now, after all the hints, signals, and hints have been revealed, it's hard for anyone to remain blind. Jimin wasn't trying to prove anything to the world. They were simply living, in their own way. But without realizing it, they were proving something much bigger. That true connection doesn't require public recognition. It only requires honesty between two hearts. And therein lies the difference from what Taekookers still deny. Many still cling to old moments, snippets of interactions that may have lost their context. They're still searching for signs between Taeyoung and Jungkook. But the more they search, the clearer it becomes that their relationship now remains only a memory from their trainee days, not something as vivid as what we see between Jimin and Jungkook today. Jikook has grown together, not just as bandmates, but as two individuals who understand each other amidst incredible pressure. They know what it's like to be told, misunderstood, and even told simply because of their closeness. But they still choose not to pretend to be distant. In a world that often demands lies for the public's comfort, they choose honesty in their actions. They don't say, "We're together," but every look, every little touch, every backstage moment is a statement stronger than any words. Now, perhaps not everyone is ready to accept this truth. The evidence that emerges isn't scandal, not cheap gossip, but the reality that two people who grew up together under incredible pressure have found each other in the midst of the storm. And whether we like to admit it or not, Jikook has proven something the fandom has long tried to deny. True love doesn't need to be announced. It just takes two hearts that know each other, and two souls that keep choosing each other day after day, even without words. Perhaps this is the proof no one wants to see. Because once you see it, you can't imagine it anymore. And beyond all the fandom's distractions, one thing is now clear. Jikook is no longer just a theory, they are a living reality, and that love, no matter how hard you try to deny it, speaks for itself. So to all the armies who continue to believe, who see more than just what the cameras show, and to those who still deny it, maybe it's time to stop making excuses and start seeing the reality. Jikook isn't trying to prove anything to the world, but without realizing it, they've already shown everything. See you in the next video with more stories, more evidence, and perhaps even more honesty to come. Because one thing's for sure, Jikook's story isn't over. In fact, it's probably just beginning.